join Sanjeev regarding his point of view for security. Wanted to say, like in payment infrastructure, the success of the technology will release on the security. There is no customer who are going to play with their money on the technology if they are not sure if it's secure. So the bank, the technology provider, and the customer, they have to build a chain of trust. So in the past banking, we had before the perimeter security, a big building, so it was to protect the bad people to go inside the building, and as well to show to the customer that the money is in the safe, in a strong building. Then you have the layered security. The customer cannot have access to all the bank. Employees have access to the desk, and very few people have access to the safe. Then you have the transaction security. In the past, when we wanted to withdraw money, we had to go to the branch to show physically an ID card, a document, a signature. And the customer has to make sure that this money was on the good account. And then the transport. To move your money from point A to a point B, you used to have a armored vehicle or a diligence. But now, with the digital world, we have to ensure that the network is secure. So until the bank do not show to the customer that the network is secured, the transactions secured, not the roof, apparently, the people will not go for the technology. So we have to show to the customer that the technology they are using is safe. And this will give the benefit to the bank as well, because if you have an ATM fraud, you will damage your trust with the customer. So we believe, at least in our company, that security is very important, and it has to use some hardware and physical security.
I believe you've got a few slides to put up. Would you like to do that quickly?
No, I mean, like the slides I wanted to present you was more or less the resume of what I was saying, so okay. I'm not going to repeat myself.
Okay.
Gentlemen, sorry if I have already covered who has access to the data. You have to segment the different areas according to the people. Then we have the transaction security. When you want to withdraw money, when you want to deposit money, you have to build a trust to the customer. You have to identify the customer with a physical ID or a physical document, a physical signature. And same, here it's to build the trust of the customer. And finally, for the transportation, we used to trust in vehicles to move the money from a point A to a point B. Just to prevent from theft, and as well to make sure that the customer trusts the bank and it's trusted enough to move money from a point A to a point B. So what have changed? Before, we used to protect physical things like money, banknotes, gold, and we physically verify identity. But nowadays, with the digital world, we have to protect the most valuable things, the information. And we have to remotely verify the identity between the customer and the banker or the other institution. So what we have to protect has changed. It's not a safe anymore. We have to protect data centers. We have to protect customers' device, handset via the network. And the threat has changed as well. So in the old world, we had the bad guys, the opportunistic group, who wanted to enter the premises, break the safe, and the law enforcement agency was effective. Nowadays, the bank and the financial institution have to face a wider range of threat size with remotely attack, even from abroad and international organization. The perimeter security is regularly breached, and the law enforcement agencies cannot cope. We have another kind of threat, the internal threat. The classic IT administrator who has access to the old database, which we call the keys of the kingdom. We have the security policies not always followed by the employees. I'm very sorry if we have like some friends here from the auditors, but they are as well a threat for the banks because they have an increasingly sophisticated power into the bank. They are able to issue fines, stop business, and send senior management to jail. And we have strongest international regulation, like PCI DSS. So what the bank have learned through the year. So as per our experience, it's the bank so that with the digital world, you have to do a perimeter security with firewall. But what happens if someone enters to your fortress? So firewall is not enough. You have to protect the data closer, which means with layered security, protect data at rest, so for authentication, and protect data in motion, transport security. We are just coming back to the same basic of the old world. So for that, one of the technology to achieve those security is to use cryptography. First, to encrypt and decrypt, so to protect. Second, to digitally sign to identify the customer or the bank. And second, to authenticate. So how, in the modern world, what is the layered security? So here we have like web server, you have database, you have emails. You need as well a hardware. A hardware which is here to secure a database, a server, with segmented access within the infrastructure. For that, it's to build the trust of the customer. Same from transaction security. All those devices have to be connected, and we believe in hardware. So through using cryptography, with a secure, solid, trusted device to have a strong authentication of the people, and as well to build trust. And finally, for the transport security, to move the money from a point A to a point B, you have to make sure that the line is encrypted. And for that, you need a hardware security device. So I'm going to conclude with this image, which is quite interesting. It is like security is only as strong as the weakest link. You can build and spend money in various technology to apply security. But the bad guys will always look at the weakest link.